Hello, and welcome to your assembly on how learning happens. My name is Miss Hill, and I'm going to be introducing you and letting you in on the secret of why teachers are doing specific things that they do within your lessons. So we're going to be touching on a few facts, and then I'm going to be giving you those secrets of why teachers do things to make sure you can learn to the best of your ability. Now, over the past year, your teachers, including your tutor stood in front of you, have been working really hard to experiment, implement, research new core pedagogies. What's a pedagogy, I hear you say, Miss Hill? A pedagogy is simply a method or a strategy that teacher is using at that time in order to help you to learn to the best of your ability. And those pedagogies, those methods, those strategies are what I am going to be explaining to you today. So let's kick it off with our first 11 pedagogies. We only learn when we're able to focus. Fact. We all know that when that environment within our classroom is a good environment for us to be able to think hard, that is when learning is maximized. That's when we can all learn to the best of our ability, when that environment in the classroom allows us to do so. So what do we do? And what will you notice the teachers doing? Well, we meet and greet you to begin with. We're going to meet and greet you at the door of your classroom, welcoming you in positively to our classroom and to our environment, making sure that we have that one-to-one moment with you to create that positive relationship. Now, for year 8 to year 11, it will be no surprise to hear about one voice. You will hear one voice in every single lesson that you go to. Why do we bother with one voice? Why do we use it? Well, it makes sure that the learning environment is disruption-free. There's not loads of voices and people talking at the same time. It's very difficult to listen to a whole group of people talking. So having that one voice and your teacher being explicit with one voice allows you to fully focus on who is talking at that time, so that you do not miss out on any golden nuggets of information or any instructions that you need to listen to in order to be successful in the task that you're just about to complete. It means that you're not distracted, and it means that the learning time can be maximized. Track the speaker, very similar. Whoever is talking in that classroom, whether it be the LSA, yourself as students, or the teacher, you will hear the phrase, track the speaker. That means that your eyes and your attention fully goes on to whoever may be talking. Again, why? Well, that allows us to listen to information that may be being discussed in the room. It might be information that you were too nervous to ask, or that you didn't know and you can add into your work. It means that you're not distracted from anyone and doing anything else within the classroom. And it means that the teachers can easily check that you are all paying attention. We know that our working memory capacity is really small when we learn new things. And we know this when we look at our younger siblings, perhaps. If we're teaching them the alphabet, we don't expect them to know the 26 letters of the alphabet straight away because our brain cannot deal with too much information. We know that as teachers. So what we do in order to help you is 2 clear pedagogies, methods, strategies. Now I'm going to talk about the one on the right first, which is modelling. Now this is really important to help us, to help you as students not be overloaded with too much information. So if I give examples within subjects of how modelling works, you may see, for example, in English, Mr. Wedge using his visualizer to walk through a process of writing step by step to show you how to be successful as you can. This might be in music. If I'm modelling as your music teacher, I have my visualizer on the keyboard showing you how to work out those notes of a chord and how it works with our position, our hand position. It may mean that Miss Crallen has her visualizer on an artwork and she's showing you the technique that is needed to be successful within the painting that you're creating. So live modelling allows us as teachers to break down tasks that you can physically see how to complete them to be as successful as possible. Now, cold calling is more for us than it is for you. We need to make sure as teachers that we're not giving you so much information and then moving on, and then giving you so much information and then moving on, and assuming that you have fully understood what we've talked to you about. So you'll know that we're not a hands up school. You will not hear me go, how many beats are in this bar? Hands up, please. We're not a hands up school. But what you will see me is checking your understanding through cold calling. So what I will do is I will ask the class a question, for example, how many beats are in this bar? I will give you individual thinking time, and then I will pick someone to answer that question. Now, there will be a reason as to who I'm picking, or it might be at random as to who I'm picking, but I will be, as the teacher, picking who answers that question. You will respond and I will respond to your answer. So if there's anything that's wrong or there's a misconception, we will address that there and then. And then I might move on to another student to see what their point of view is about the question that I've asked. So that's cold calling, and that's for us to check that what we have taught you has been fully understood in that moment, because we do not want to overload you. We don't want to do that as the teachers in front of you. Next, practice is vital if we're able to shift new knowledge into our long-term memories. And we'll know this when we're learning to ride a bike. Like, we don't just get on it once and go, woo, I've done it, let's go. We need to practice and practice and practice, and finally you get better, and now it's just second nature to you. You don't have to practice it anymore. That's exactly like learning. So what do we do as teachers to help you practice over and over again, so that what you're doing becomes second nature, so that you're able to pull knowledge out and go, I remember that, I know that. So that when you're sitting exams, you're able to sit there confidently, pulling out information from your long-term memory in order to be successful. So I'm going to start bottom right, just to confuse you all. You will notice you will do knowledge recall starters within your lessons. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it allows the learning to start really, really quickly. Again, learning time in that 70 minutes is maximised, because you sit down and on the board there is a knowledge recall starter. And that knowledge recall starter might be looking at information from last year, last term, last week, last lesson. So what we're doing is going over information you've already been taught to make sure that you are remembering it. The next thing that we've got on here is silent solo. Now, silent solo, again, is nothing new, and it's once a teacher has given you the instructions, for example, Mr. Wedge live modelling on that beautiful visualizer, exactly how to be successful in answering this question, how to structure it, you are given time independently to go and do that by yourself. Why do I have to do it silently is the biggest question I'm asked. Well, being able to be silent allows you to be able to fully focus. So this process requires your full attention and your full focus. Therefore, it needs to be in silence. That doesn't mean that you will walk into a lesson and we'll go, right, silent solo, 70 minutes, off you go. You will always be fully prepared and informed of this silent solo by your teacher. Next up, we have show me boards. So you will see that some of your teachers, even your tutor in front of you, might have been given their very new whiteboards for their classroom. And this means that teachers have another way of gathering whether the knowledge that you've been learning or the knowledge that you have been learning is going into your long-term memory. It's a very quick tool for us teachers to be able to see if what we've just told you or taught you has been retained. So you will all be given a whiteboard, you'll all be given a question, you'll all be given the time to do that question and thinking time, again, by yourself. The teacher will signal 3, 2, 1, and you will show them your boards. How quick and easy is that for us to teach it as teachers to know whether we can move on or not? Because what if 50% of you get it wrong, but the teacher just goes, oh, we're just going to move on anyway? It's not going to work, is it? We need to make sure everyone has understood what we've taught in order for the next part of the topic to make sense to you. And then we've got turn and talk as well, one of my ultimate favourite pedagogies. So this allows you, and why we do turn and talk, is it allows you to digest information you may have been given. sometimes it's nicer to speak to your peer and go, hey, have I got this right? Does this make sense? I think this is the answer, is it? Or you might not know something, your partner's able to fill in that gap of knowledge for you. So you will be given a talk partner, and I'm going to say that again, you will be given a talk partner, and then you'll be given a question. Again, you will have individual thinking time to just think about it, try and grab it out of that long-term memory yourself. Whilst you're talking, the teacher will circulate, and what they're looking for is any misconceptions or anything that might be wrong that's coming up. And then they will use cold calling, as we discussed earlier, to pick on students at random, to then ask for your answers. And then there will be a discussion that follows that. So that's turn and talk as well. So when you are doing silent solos, or when you are doing turn and talks, or when you are completing work that has been set, you will notice that your teacher is getting their steps in and walking around the room, but they're actually now hunting and not fishing. So hunting, not fishing, is all about your teacher. When they're walking around, they are hunting for something specific within the work you're completing. So for myself, if I give my music as an example, I may walk into the practice rooms where you're practicing, and I might specifically be looking that you are using the correct G within the music I've given you, because it is sometimes students find it difficult to know which G on the keyboard is the correct G in a specific melody, which year 7 you will see quite soon. It might be that your history teacher is going around and looking for specific dates or specific names within the work that you're writing. So they will know this already, what they're looking for, but you will see your teacher walking around the room, making sure that the work you are completing has everything it needs in it. Why do we do this? Well, imagine everyone was getting the dates wrong. Imagine everyone was getting that G wrong, and I didn't address it, and I didn't go look for it. I just sat at my desk. How is that helping you as a student to be better? So hunting, not fishing, is really important, because what we're looking for as teachers is what we need to reteach, revisit, or it might be absolutely, this class has got it, they've understood, let's move on. Finally, class charts to reward. You will all be rewarded using class charts, because we want to celebrate when a student, or when yourself, has been respectful or has been successful or worldwide in line with what's been spoken about within your assemblies. On the opposite side, if a student isn't demonstrating, then negative class charts will be put onto and recorded onto class charts as well. But we want to be more positive, obviously, than we want to be negative, because praise is so important. We know that as human beings. Praise is so important to build your confidence and your love of learning within our lessons. So what I'm trying to say here is you need to trust the teachers in front of you. They are working hard to make sure that the lessons they have planned and they are delivering are the best they can be, to make sure you can be the best you can be. If you have any questions about this assembly at all, please come and see me over in the PA department, where I will revisit or retell you any of the reasons as to why teachers are doing these pedagogies within your lessons. But for now, have a great lesson, and I will see you soon.